I know, that was crazy.
Crush it out.
I'm getting confused with the new rule.
I heard you're passionate about this.
Oh, this is just an investment. I'll think about it. I'll go through this.
Oh, they got it. They got it.
Your mom's team is
Aggressive, yeah.
where there's opportunity.
I do have a good son.
Recording in progress.
Hello, everyone.
All right. At this time, I would like to ask our IT professionals to start the audio tape recordings of the regular meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia Board of Commissioners, and to admit any members of the public who have chosen to listen to the meeting online.
The recording has begun and the public have been let in.
Thank you. My name is Sharice Reyes, and I serve as the General Counsel of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, also known as Atlanta Housing. Before the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners is called to order, please consider the following announcements. We welcome the members of the public who have joined us in person in the Pecan Room at the Atlanta Housing Headquarters, located at 230 John Wesley Dobbs, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, for this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Atlanta Housing. We also welcome the members of the public who have joined this meeting via audio conference. There is also an option to view the meeting live streamed. Members of the public can find the link in the notices section on the Atlanta Housing website. Please be advised that any members of the public who wish to address the board during the time for public comment period must have signed up on the public speaker sign-up sheet at the front door of the meeting room prior to the time the meeting is called to order, or have sent in a comment by the time set in the notice of meeting. Comments should be relevant to matters within the authority of the Board of Commissioners or otherwise related to the business of Atlanta Housing. The chair may enforce these procedures to ensure orderly and efficient conduct of the meeting. A link to the meeting agenda, board resolutions, and presentation materials are available for review by the public by accessing the Atlanta Housing Board Docs link on the Atlanta Housing website at www.atlantahousing.org/notices.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Larry Stewart, and I serve as the chair of the Board of Commissioners. I'm now calling this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, to order. Today is Wednesday, May 27th. The time is 2:02 p.m. Will the General Counsel take the roll to determine a quorum for this meeting?
Larry Stewart.
Here.
Sarah Kirsch.
Here.
Joel Alvarado.
Here.
Matt Bronfman.
Here.
Rosalind Elliott. Tony Martin.
Here.
Bentina Terry. Mr. Chair, there is an in-person quorum present.
The agenda has been presented to the board for review and comment. Are there any proposed changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I may have a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion.
All right. May I have a
Second.
second? All right. So moved by Commissioner Martin and seconded by Commissioner Kirsch. Is there any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And I didn't hear any oppositions. I did not hear any abstentions. And so the motion is carried.
The minutes of the regular Board of Commissioners meeting held on April 22nd, 2026 are before the board for review and comment. Are there any proposed corrections to the minutes of the regular Board of Commissioners meeting?
All right. Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 22nd, 2026?
Second.
All right. So moved by Commissioner Elliott and seconded by Commissioner Martin. Is there any discussion related to the motion to approve the minutes of the April 22nd, 2026 meeting? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Did not hear any opposition or abstention. The motion is carried. All right. Have we had any members of the public signed up to speak or provided comments in advance of the meeting?
Mr. Chair, no members of the public have signed up for comment, nor have any members of the public submitted any comments in advance of the meeting.
Right. So then that will end this public comment portion of the meeting. And we will now move. So looks like it says skipped. So are we doing executive session first? Or are
Yes.
we-
Mr. Chair, it is recommended that the Board of Commissioners move to close this portion of the regular meeting to convene into executive session to discuss certain privileged matters pursuant to Georgia Code Section 50-14-2. It is estimated that the executive session may last a minimum of 30 minutes. At the conclusion of the executive session, the board will reconvene into the public portion of the regular meeting.
So on my script, there's no section of what I'm supposed to say right here. So I'm going to just say it. I think we're just making a motion to to go into executive session. That's it. All right. So may I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
All right. All right. So moved by Commissioner Curtis and seconded by Commissioner Bronfman. Are there any discussion on this point? If not, may I have a vote? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did not hear any abstentions or objections. So that will now go to executive session.
And the meeting is going to adjourn temporarily at 2:05 p.m.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Oh, really? Yes, you have to explore. You gotta go to different ones. I was just trying to prepare for our meeting with Terry for restore rebuild. Yeah, I don't know if Kelvin is running the number or like how that's going.
Yeah, so we're trying to screw the numbers. There's still a lot of questions.
I copied you on the talking points that I expanded for Terry. So we tweaked the spreadsheet that we created on all of the restore rebuild development. So that now we broke down how many units we're losing. And then how many we can move forward.
I think the most confusing part for you and I was that it looked like a portion of them, a portion of cities center, a portion of these properties were included in a portion of the time. Unless there's a way to argue this, you want to give them some grant for this.
It is negatively impacted. We just went through it for Terry's talking points, and we won't have subsidy for going to 5 and 6. Yes. I think that's the conversation with Janelle at the next monthly meeting. With the way that memo stands right now, we're And I think, I mean, even that's a good point for Terry to talk about with Mary Ann, but I think like the first step is having a meeting with Janelle. Yeah. So that hey, Janelle, this is part of our certification, you know.
It's different if it's on the property side. Just for my own sake, we have the pipeline. We also have.
So my husband, that's helping help with this. Center medicine protocol. Yes. I said, so we have an R2, it's civic center. Those were part of the site.
It was.
And P1 didn't have any historical.
So
Which is why you go to R2. And I said, we didn't use it, because we don't put a site plan in there. So just put the house in R4, it might be.
It's game 3 of the NBA Finals. I found
This is already that's not the base.
Oh, no, it's the way they do it.
Yes.
I was just curious. First time I saw it.
That's the way architects name it.
Yeah, it was purely their architect, and I don't know kind of what they were.
No,
how they-
but you got it.
You nailed it.
Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you for the update. I feel like the other thing that I was gonna flag on our bench is the better ATM contract for service agreement. I don't think you get the direction on that one because like you weren't like super work with your like I don't know. 'Cause originally like when I sent it over, I thought like okay, you know what, we're still working on the social and digital, but like the past months it's been like we aren't getting what we need and like honestly the project's really giving them a repeat of these. So I'm not like super pressed to have the service. So if there's because I don't know, and the other reason why I bring it up is because I know I added that Kelly says so sort of top priority and she went originally. So if you need to balance that out and cause one to
So, I've started to, and I can send but,
All right. All right. All right, we have concluded our discussion in executive session and are reconvening into the public portion of the regular meeting. No actions were taken in executive session where we discussed privileged legal matters. I will call the regular board meeting back to order. I take note that an in-person quorum of the board is still present. We are back at 2:59 p.m. Please be advised that at the Board of Commissioners September 22nd, 2021 meeting, the board approved the consent agenda protocol. There are 7 resolutions that received unanimous votes of approval at the Board of Commissioners Real Estate Committee meeting held on May 20th, 2026. The collective group of resolutions on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion to adopt all resolutions and the affirmative majority vote of the Board of Commissioners. If discussion on any resolution or resolutions is desired by a commissioner, the commissioner must make that desire known to the chair immediately following the reading of the consent agenda items, and the resolution or resolutions will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately or at the discretion of the chair. A discussion may occur prior to the vote on the consent agenda item, the consent agenda resolutions. Moreover, if a commissioner simply wants his or her vote to be specifically recorded on a particular item, separate votes may be taken on the resolutions. Will the general counsel identify the 7 resolutions on the consent agenda for the record?
Before you are copies of the following consent agenda items. Resolution number 2620, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to enter into final negotiations and execute a master developer agreement for redevelopment of the property located at 450 Hank Aaron Drive, formerly known as the Stadium Hotel. Resolution number 2621, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to extend the Home Flex Assistance Payments Agreement for Woodbridge at Parkway Village. Resolution number 2622, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to extend the Home Flex Assistance Payments Agreement for Retreat at Edgewood. Resolution number 2623, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to approve the final business terms and take all actions necessary to consummate the financial closing and refinance of Columbia Estates. Resolution number 2624, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to enter into a Haven Home Flex Assistance Payments Agreement commitment for permanent supportive housing housing units at Villas of Hope. Resolution number 2625, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to enter into a Haven Home Flex Assistance Payments Agreement for supportive housing units at Quest at Dalvany. Resolution number 2626, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to adopt a policy providing guidance on the use of private enterprise agreements.
May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda resolution numbers 2620, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 28 as is?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, so moved by Commissioner Martin and seconded by Commissioner Bronfman. Is there any discussion related to the consent agenda item resolution, agenda resolutions? Yes. All right, hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. So all ayes, no opposition, no abstention. The motion is carried. All right. Oh, shoot.
Before you is a copy of Resolution number 2627, which seeks authorization to approve its comprehensive budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2027, and other related matters.
All right, may I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2627?
So moved.
Second. All right, so moved by Commissioner Kurtz and seconded by Commissioner Bronfman. And we will now have a presentation from Abdel Altamimi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, members of the Board of Commissioners for Atlanta Housing. We seek your authority today to approve and authorize the budget for our fiscal year 27, which will be covering the period starting July 1st of this year, 26, through June 30th of 2027. Much of this you've seen, and I will go relatively quick with your permission if you're okay with that. Year to date, for this fiscal year, we have continued to stay at 90%. And we've continued to maintain a approved head count of 376, which we're taking into the next budget season. For this budget season that we're promoting, a significant portion of the budget, 26.5%, will be going to our development activities to create and preserve the 10,000 units per our strategic plan. Voucher utilization of 90%, which leaves us a remaining 10% for development activities, resident renaissance, and operations. And the conversion of 5 AH-owned properties to the RAD platform, as well as resident services of $3.4 million. I'm going to move on through this. We are maintaining the 376 head count for this fiscal year, not adding to it, with a 5% increase overall in salary, and we're using 30% as our basis for benefits per communications that we've received from our insurance company. Again, the budget period is July 1st of 26 through June 30th of 27. The key inputs behind everything for our budget is the strategic plan as well as our annual MCW plan. The proposed budget is $544.6 million is a balanced budget. Of that, 84.4%, which is $460 million, it goes directly to housing assistance and development activities, with $3.4 million going to resident engagement and empowerment, as well as in the operational portion. Outside of that is going directly to the maintenance, innovation, and development of internal controls and processes. This is our 5-year trend in budgets. The major funding in this particular budget will be going to housing assistance operating subsidy, $305.8 million. As well as $144.2 million being the next largest, which is our direct development activity. The majority of our funding is federal, and most of it is the Housing Choice Voucher Plan, which constitutes 73.7% of our budget, as well as some funds that are carried over from previous periods. This is our funding as presented in dollars instead of percent. The $401.6 million being the largest portion, representing our Housing Choice Voucher Program, $8 million for operating subsidy, and $11.7 million for capital funds program. Together, those three top portions make up what we call our moving to work funding, which is the vast majority of what will be funding our activities for this coming year. The uses of funds are primarily going to housing assistance, operating subsidies, and development, with only 7.3% going to corporate support. $315.8 million of the proposed budget will go directly to housing assistance and operating subsidy to take care of an estimated 22,749 households. $144.2 million for development activities, and $65.9 million for department operations. $4.1 million for capital improvements, including modernization and innovation activities, as well as some safety improvements. Our voucher program is projecting to increase this coming year, with primary focus being on the Home Flex vouchers, which are project-based vouchers. The breakdown of our development activity, the $144.2 million, a large percentage of that for this coming year will be the conversion of the 5 properties to the RAD program, which totals $49.7 million into the escrow accounts, or $51.7 million total. These are the properties that we're taking care of from the RAD program standpoint and development. the Choice Neighborhoods, Bowen Homes, Ashley at Scholars Landing homeownership, as well as some former public housing sites. Further land that we're developing. The vast majority of our department funding, since it's going directly to housing vouchers and assistance, the majority of the funding by department will be the Housing Choice Voucher Program department. This is how our funding is going directly to our strategic goals, with $139.2 million to the Create and Preserve, $323.4 million for enhancing housing assistance, goal number 2, $3.4 million for opportunities to thrive, $3.5 million for expanding operations, $2.8 million for to communicate our impact as an agency, and $72.3 million for strengthening our internal operations. The budget book is before you. This represents in full detail everything in this proposed budget. And with that, it is our recommendation that the board of the Atlanta Housing Authority approve and adopt this budget for this fiscal year. This concludes my presentation.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, aye. I don't think I said aye. So all ayes, no opposition, no abstentions. The motion is carried.
If I may, just real briefly, want to thank you for the process and the briefings that you provided all of us. It's really great to be able to come to this final presentation and feel like we have a full understanding of everything that's in here and how it's aligned to the strategic plan. So just thank you for all the work that went into that.
Thank you. That was done at the direction of our CEO and president, but I'm glad it benefited everyone. It benefited us as well. So thank you.
So I do want to do a quick clarification now. So yes, to all of that for you. This is not about you. Right. So for 28, I mentioned that in the consent agenda because that's what it said, but it sounds like we're doing a separate acknowledgement of that, and that should not have been. So will you correct that for the minutes? Okay. All right, cool. That's it. All right, now, so may I have a motion to acknowledge receipt and review of item 2628, which is what I said earlier, but should not have. Go ahead. We have a motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Second. All right, so moved by Commissioner Martin and seconded by Commissioner Bronfman. Maya, are we going to have a presentation? Okay, so Maya Hadari, our Chief Real Estate Officer, will now give us a presentation.
So good afternoon. And we're coming before you again just to once again seek your acknowledgement of the review of the FY 2026 operating budgets and assessment of the financial health of our RAD portfolio. So we assembled information and presented it at the Real Estate Committee last week, and I just want to briefly go through the presentation just to invite any additional questions. The RAD program gives housing authorities the ability to convert existing public housing units to PBV, and it's believed to be a more stable source of financing over time or funding to support those units over time. And so for us, we have about 20 RAD properties. This is a context map of the locations of the RAD properties. Again, last year, HUD released a notice and had all public housing authorities do an assessment to make sure that our RAD properties have sufficient deposits to their replacement reserves and for us to analyze the financial health. And so we did so. Again, we looked at the operating budgets for all of our RAD developments. We looked at the replacement reserve deposits. We considered the RAD conversion commitment, and then again, just assessing the financial health. And then we presented some analysis to the board at Real Estate Committee meeting and went through kind of what the picture is for all of our properties. And so this is just additional information. We had the detailed analysis and walkthrough last week. And provided some additional clarifications on specific properties. And so with that, this again is just a secondary presentation coming to you for the acknowledgement that we reviewed the information with the Board of Commissioners on our operating budgets, on the replacement reserve deposits, as well as the financial health of all of our RAD sites. And so that concludes my presentation.
Is there any discussion or comments relative to our analysis? Yeah, go ahead.
When I think of Section 8, I think housing that is much more based on the resident versus project-based. But am I hearing, this is converting to Section 8 that would remain project-based?
So for Housing Choice Voucher, that program, there are two types of assistance. There is a tenant-based Housing Choice Voucher that follows a family, and there's project-based that follows a unit. And so this particular program, the RAD program, is an initiative that allowed housing authorities to convert existing public housing units that operate at break even to the PBV, the project-based Housing Choice Voucher Assistance, which can support debt over time. And so it's a more stable source of subsidy over time. Also, the public housing program, you're funded for operating capital, and then you have the tenant portion of the rent. And so there are times that the capital or the operating programs for public housing will not be fully funded.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly just say thank you for your report, and also thank you for the hard work. I know when we did this the last time, there was a lot of areas where there were some no's and some areas where we were really trying to cure and I guess make sure that we were on good standing in a lot of those properties, and I see that we've made tremendous improvement and growth in that space, and as indicated by this report. So I just wanted to highlight that and say thanks to the team who's been involved in making sure that happens. Is there any other discussion, comments? If not, I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did not hear any opposition or any abstentions. The motion is carried. And looks like there is not a president or CEO report to be presented today. Is that okay? Oh, there is. Okay. All right. Oh, it says I'm not. Got a question in it. All right. We have one. So welcome Terry Lee to the stage.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I didn't receive the level of excitement that I needed to receive about passing our budget. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that that is the third unanimous approval budget that we've had under my leadership. And so I want to thank this board, but I especially want to thank my team. Because what you see are the numbers that we put before you. What they actually do is make sure that we execute upon the impact each and every day. And so I do want to thank the members of our team for that. As we think through the work that this board continues to do on a monthly basis, we are very intentional about aligning every resolution to our strategic plan. And so this month, we had a total of 9 resolutions. What you'll see before you, there are only 8. The one resolution that we're not including is the one in which we're providing home flex assistance to a property that's outside the jurisdiction of Atlanta. But in looking at the other in other resolutions that are moving forward, we're continuing to advance our strategic plan. Under goal number 1, we're approving about the creation and preservation of 1,074 units, which will result in about a 44% affordability. What's exciting about that is that we have announced that we have, through the action of this board, moved forward and received approval to begin negotiations with 10th Street Property for the 450 Hank Aaron Master Development Agreement. And that literally gives us an opportunity to reimagine what the old Ramada Hotel could look like, as well as create new opportunities for affordable housing on that site. And so we're really excited about that. We're also excited that we're moving forward with Goal 6, and that's strengthening our operations. We recognize that we have to provide rental assistance, we have to create housing opportunities, but we also need to make sure that we have a strong infrastructure to lift up the work we do as an organization. And so one tool that has become very popular over the last 24 months is the Private Enterprise Agreement tool. And so as an agency, while we had entered into private enterprise agreements over the course of our existence, what we did not have was an actual policy. We had a practice. And so through the leadership of this board, we've established a policy, and that policy really standardizes that process, not just the criteria, but also the affordability requirements. And it clearly distinguishes where Atlanta Housing starts and where Atlanta Urban Development Corporation can pick up the work. In addition to that, as Maya just went over our RAD portfolio budget review, we had an opportunity to look at the operating budgets and the financial health of our portfolio. And I would say that as we think about the next 5-year strategic plan, preservation has to be a strong part of it. Preservation and the recapitalization of our existing portfolio, because as an entity, we provide a level of assistance to over 125 multifamily properties, 5 of which we own, and it is our responsibility to make sure that those properties are shored up correctly. And so with all that being said, from a subsidy investment standpoint, we've invested over $28.9 million to date through your approved actions. Abdel did a phenomenal job of walking you through the budget. Again, what I really want to point out, and we talked about this at the State of Atlanta Housing, we will be held accountable for the housing that we build and the housing assistance we provide, but our legacy will be how we treat people. And so this budget does much more than housing. It also looks at how we can strengthen our investments on resident, and it is the beginning of the launch of our resident renaissance. And so we're excited to be able to continue delivering upon that commitment. We also are continuing a conversation I know that is one that is often had in the halls of City Hall. What are we doing with publicly owned land? And this budget also continues to advance about 27 acres of land on multiple phases of development activity that we have underway. From a financial update, last year's budget, we were very conservative, and we were conservative because of the uncertainty of the fiscal environment we were in. What I'm excited to say is that right now, from a year-to-date perspective, beginning in April, we're at about a 90% utilization on our budget, a budget spend, which constitutes about a 76% overall year-to-date. We do believe that we're going to be pretty much on target with that budget spend, which will be the first time that we've been at that close on target, probably within the last 7 years. We continue to talk about our strategic plan. One of the things that we've pushed under my administration is transparency. The QR code is available if you would like to go to the QR code, but at any point, our Board of Commissioners as well as the public can access our strategic plan dashboard on our website to know where we stand in relationship to all 6 goals. And so when we think about strategic progress, under goal number 1, build and preserve housing, we were able to participate in the grand opening sponsored by Partners for Home in the City of Atlanta for 111 Moreland Avenue. Many of you may remember this was the permanent supportive housing project in Reynoldstown that received a lot of concern about knowing my backyard. And I will tell you, it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful development that was completed by Strand Investments. And when you drive by it, you don't even know that it's permanent supportive housing, or quite honestly, even affordable housing, but it's an opportunity for someone to have a safe place to sleep. And so we're able to provide 42 home flex units for that particular development. And it was really a strong collaborative partnership between Invest Atlanta, the Atlanta Neighborhood Development Partnership, the Community Foundation under Commissioner Kerr's previous leadership invested in that transaction, as well as, of course, the city of Atlanta. We also, for the third year, received a multifamily award from NAFA. NAFA is the National Association of Local Housing Finance Agencies. This being our third award, we previously received an award for James Allen Senior Development, which is a senior development on the Southwest Atlanta. We received an award for Juanita Gardner, which is also a senior development in Southwest Atlanta, and now Madison at Reynoldstown. And most recently, Madison at Reynoldstown was on the news highlighting for the Beltline how the Beltline is bringing affordable housing, and that people are only paying $100 or so for rent based upon their income. Well, it's because of Atlanta Housing that they're only paying $100 for their rent, because it is an income-based development. And so we were excited to receive an award for that development. And some not so exciting news is, I believe last month I shared with you that we had identified a way to utilize the previous Faircloth authority that was granted to Atlanta Housing, as well as any other housing authority across the country, when housing authorities went to reimagine what public housing could look like. And many housing authorities did not do a one-for-one replacement of units, and Atlanta Housing was one. We have identified a total of 40 projects constituting about 4,000 units, and I believe about 2,700 of those units will be affordable. We unfortunately received a memo on May 12th, and that memo was from the Assistant Secretary of HUD that basically has stated that HUD is going to stop accepting any restore rebuild applications, and that any previous authorizations that were submitted have to close within 90 days in order for HUD to honor the commitment. If HUD stands by that ruling, Atlanta Housing stands to lose the ability to create about 2,200 units. We have a total of 10 projects that we believe we can move forward and get closed. Proactively, we've been working with our development partners to make sure that we can get those projects closed, and if not closed, at least have another funding commitments in so that we can show HUD that we have a viable source. I have met with HUD officials to discuss this, and along with the industry groups. And one of the things that's clear is because there's an uncertainty about federal funding on the federal level, that HUD's priority is to keep the families that are currently housed, and not necessarily create the opportunity for new units. But there's more to come. We, again, will be working with our industry groups as well as others to help build just really not even build the case, but just build the story as to how this was a critical tool to create more affordable housing within our city as well as other cities. We're continuing to have activities for our residents. We've had our summer camp teen employment expo. We also are working with our seniors at Marion Road High Rise. Made sure they received laptops, but also digital training through our partner with Inspired You. And then we had our seniors farmers market at the Civic Center. We did have some hiccups with transportation, working with our friends at MARTA, but for my seniors that were able to make it, they had a really good time. They received fresh produce, wellness resources, as well as we had several partners, including some of our healthcare partners that participated with us. And I believe Commissioner Elliott, I missed her while I was there, but I believe Commissioner Elliott had a chance to participate as well. And then our State of Atlanta Housing. We were fortunate enough on May 12th to host our second State of Atlanta Housing, and it was under the theme Imagine. And I'll tell you, my team, if you ever want to know how to completely take over and encamp a venue, call Atlanta Housing, because they literally took over the entire venue from the exterior to the interior. And it was a whole notion of imagine who we could be if we became intentional about making sure we invest in the future of our residents. And so we were really excited to have the mayor join us. Of course, we had Chairman Stewart leading the charge. We had one of our residents, DeMar Goodman, who was dressed exactly like the mayor, as well as we were able to facilitate a fireside chat with Pulitzer Prize author Brian Goldstone. And if you have not read the book, That There's No Place for Us, I would ask that you read it. It has literally changed my perspective on the lens that I have in lifting up this work and the families we serve. We also were fortunate to announce a historic program that we'll be launching within the next 45 days, which is our down payment assistance program to families who are currently on our voucher program. We will provide up to $60,000 for families who are ready to transition from public assistance to home ownership. And that's an important distinction, because as a family transition, they will relinquish their voucher so that we can help the next family, and we will transition them to home ownership, giving them the opportunity to create generational wealth for their family for years to come.
Can I just jump in super quick? I'm gonna have to leave, so I'm gonna hand over the rest of our proceedings to our Vice Chair, Commissioner Kurtz. But I certainly didn't want to leave without saying that you guys, and starting with our CEO, all the way down, did a phenomenal job. First, thank you. I wanted to wait till the end. I thought I'd be able to get in on the budget part and to say congratulations. So thank you for making us give the clap that it deserved and that process. I know that Finance Chair Terry would have also echoed her thanks for how smooth that process went. She has communicated that to me several times, and I want to just say thank you for all the hard work that goes into that, as well as all the things you just talked about. But certainly, I think the state of the housing, that was, I know, a lot of hard work. I won't try to name all the people who did all the hard work, but I know Kelly and her team did a phenomenal job, and I wanted to just make sure I said it. I've gotten several pats on the back, and I was like, don't pat my back. I just said a couple words. The people who did the hard work are in this room and beyond, and I just wanted to make sure I said that before I left. So thank you guys all. Sorry I have to leave early, but I got to go interview some folks, do some community work. So I'll talk to you guys. See you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair, for your leadership. And as we continue, the State of Atlanta Housing generated over 25 stories, and we're still receiving stories and news coverage. And I'm excited that we had over 12 media outlets actually that were in attendance, but also that picked up on that coverage. And so literally people are talking about the work that we're doing in Atlanta Housing, and they're happy to participate and engage with us. That extended reach reached over 15 million. 15 million people. And so again, just really, really, really excited to be able to lift up the great work that we're here doing in a collaborative partnership with the Board of Commissioners. In addition, and I was excited about this because I knew that we had the best general counsel this side of heaven. What I didn't know that she also was going to be the best interim chief operating officer this side of heaven. But we received some very, very good coverage in reference to Sharice Reyes being named as interim chief operating officer. And that really speaks to who Sharice is within this community, as well as the legacy of her career. So I want to thank Sharice publicly for accepting this role, but also joining me in this journey of work. Thank you, Sharice. And then let me thank my board. I'm so proud of you all. We had 100% participation from the board in completing this conflict of interest disclosure statements with the City of Atlanta. As such, we were acknowledged and received an award for the board's transparency. We were acknowledged at the 19th Annual Transparent Diamond Award ceremony by the City of Atlanta's Ethics Office and Ethics Board. And so I want to commend the board for that 100% participation. And I also want to thank Sharice for her many hats. She also accepted the award on behalf of the Board of Commissioners as well as Atlanta Housing. But we thank you. We thank you for your participation with that. And with that, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions or comments from my fellow commissioners on the CEO's report? All right. Well, I just want to echo Larry's comments, but, I reflected after State of Atlanta Housing, what great discipline that is for us to celebrate our accomplishments. Y'all know I say it every time I can, remarkable accomplishments. Your report certainly underscores that. and to transparently hold ourselves accountable to the things, to the community, to our partners on all the things that we say that we'll do. So it's just really such a great annual event that I think accomplishes things on many levels. So kudos to you and the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no further business of this board, hearing none, no other business. All right, the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners is adjourned and the time is 3:33 p.m. Thank you.
I noticed when you're back.